from elementary to high school, let's just all agree, most cases of special needs or kids with mental issues were treated as such in the manner of they had their own part of the building of the school.
Right.
Correct?
They segregate them.
And so I looked at that and I thought about it as as I got older, and I have a son and he's in a school that's in a mixed environment.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So they treat kids with mental issues, they intertwine with students with regular students. So my question is, a lot of those kids who go to maybe predominantly white schools that have mental illness are treated accordingly. But in predominantly black schools, they're treated as bottom of the barrel.
Yeah.
We got
slow kids.
Right. You used to call
they
them.
get criticized by the same, by their peers, if anything.
Alicia, well, how do you feel about that?
Well, for me, there's two sides. I feel like speaking on what Keon was saying first.
Okay.
And the way I feel about it is between, whites and blacks, it's always like, it's so easy to look at a white man as mentally ill or, he has some underlying mental illness. Mm-hmm. And when it comes down to the African American community, it's automatically, we're just so barbaric. So
Genders, though.
that doesn't, we don't have the space to be mentally ill because we're looked at as the barbarics of the pot. And then when it comes on to children, I feel like a lot of the times, not only is it that parents may be ignorant to certain situations, I also feel like parents are afraid because in the time that we're living in, a teacher or a principal will tell you that something is wrong with your child, and then you put them on a certain medication, and then all of a sudden your child ends up with all types of autism. And so a lot of parents are, I think, not only are they ignorant to mental illnesses, I think they're ignorant to the fact of what kind of medicines to ask a doctor if your child is to be medicated. What is this going to do for my child in the future? Because you have kids that were absolutely fine and were told that they're that they have ADD and ADHD and all these other illnesses that come up, and that's not what it is. But now this child, their learning processes have slowed down even more. So I think that it's like, it's kind of scary for parents, especially in the black community, because a lot of the information, it's not that we don't have it, but unfortunately we don't look for it. And then and then on top of that, it's just like some people are afraid to go against the grain of a doctor and be like, well, what is this for? Like, there's a lot of like booster shots and things, immunizations that my mom, if I didn't need them, like if there was something that wasn't needed, we didn't get them. Me and my sister didn't get them.
I'm against them.
Yeah, so I mean, there's some immunizations where you can't go without.
You need
like, though your child will have to be homeschooled if you don't get these things.
Correct.
But
homeschooling isn't a bad idea.
Homeschooling isn't a bad idea. I think it's just it doesn't give the child
the socializing.
Yeah, it doesn't give a child. But then sometimes, like kids that are homeschooled, you there's either two ways. A child that's homeschooled is going to be sociable, or they're going to be completely awkward.
Yep.
That's all for the whole being socializing. Well, as teaching, the teaching aspect of it, I think the whole school isn't a bad idea because you learn more and you don't feed.
There's no
distraction. It's not even distraction. Is you're not feeding lies. Because like the education system just feeds lies to you. It feeds lies.
But what would you teach your child in the home?
Teach them their culture, to know what it is, what they live by. Where is it that they live at? Is not all. We're not heroes.
So you wouldn't teach them academics, you would just teach them what they need.
You could definitely teach them academics and what they have to learn in life, like the science, the math, the reading. That's essential. But as in learning how this world is and like lying to people about history, about their country, that's different. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't have to lie to you for you, like, you know what I'm saying? It's not like math. Math, you're not lying to somebody. Science, you're lying to somebody. Like something like history, you're lying to somebody. You're lying to them.
So here's the biggest
sorry,
issue.
Sean,
Go ahead.
funny story is like when I was so embarrassed. My mom made me go to school, and she made me like it was like Christopher Columbus or something like that. Mm-hmm. And my mom was like, "Yeah, so when they mention Christopher Columbus, you tell them that Christopher Columbus didn't find
he's a
America."
fraud.
And I'm like,
He's a fraud.
Mom, I don't want to tell the class that. Like, and then she was just like, "Well."
But you know what's crazy? For you saying something like that.
My teacher looked at me like I was crazy.
No, it's not even crazy. They're gonna look at you like you're too advanced. It's not even. It's weird. Like you mess around and get in trouble for saying the truth. You know,
because the teacher. I mean, because honestly, how you discover something that people already did. Let's be honest with ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the end of the day,
They just-
when you're telling
it's
the
real.
truth, you're disrupting a lesson plan.
Yeah.
So,
You know what I learned? So this is my real take on the education system. So
It's a business.
when I learned that majority of what we're faced with in America is all control mechanisms. I got mine right here. Oh, and so education. If you can control the education system, you can control people.
Yeah.
If you can control religion, you can control people.
Yeah.
So if I tell you this is watermelon, Arizona, right? I can tell you how to make that. Enough to where it tastes like this, but it's not the same. I can quench your thirst, but I can't just give you that taste. For example, generic foods. Chocolate chip cookies are chocolate chip cookies, you think, right?
Yeah.
Till you get the off-brand chocolate chip cookies, and you be like, "This ain't Chips Ahoy," but it's just like chip. It's chocolate chip, so it satisfies a need. It's a temporary fix. That's what the educational system is. It's a temporary fix. I was fortunate enough to get kicked out of regular high school. So I say this because growing up in elementary school, I think there's too much knowledge to give a 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13-year-old kid. I think you need to be a teenager to learn that type of history because you need to learn their history first. Reason being is that once you learn our history, you learn that everything comes and derives from our history. So what I've noticed is that for example, when I got to high school, bless you.
Thank you.
Out of high school. So I went to alternative high school. That I was able to still get my regular high school diploma, but I was able to actually minor in African American studies.
Okay.
So I learned Toussaint L'Ouverture, who was the military for Haiti, which helped Haiti overrule slavery.
Okay.
So then you learn about W.E.B. Du Bois and Booker T. Washington and what they really was trying to do. How W. Du Bois was the first graduate of Harvard and first African American graduate of Harvard, and what his conflict was between him and Booker T. Washington. Booker T. was going for this, like Marcus Garvey, going back to Africa, get in touch with our roots, and W. Du Bois was like, "We're here, we made America, let's take." So then you learn the in-depthness of our culture, and then you learn more of. You get involved into religion too as well. You learn the origins of different religions. You learn that being a Jew is not actually no white man with curly hair with a kufi on his head. Because if you look at the garments, if you look at a Jew, it's just like an Orthodox Muslim. All this derives from Africa. So the Jews. So you look at religion itself outside of Christianity. Jews were actually a tribe in Africa. And their teachings and beliefs, of course, throughout the travels of Africa, You adapt yourself to something. You take those beliefs and then you turn. See, people think they look for it in the Bible, and it's actually not. It's actually not referred to as Jews, because you look at Hebrews. So you change the name to other things, and you say, well, these were Jews. Jesus was a Jew. No, he wasn't. He said it. He prayed. It said specifically over and over again how that man prayed. That man prayed to the east. How he prayed. How he made salat. How he prayed more than once a day. What he ate. What he didn't eat, etc. It sounds just like what? Sounds exactly. So then people don't understand. They go, well, Jesus wasn't a Muslim. I said, you got to understand. You made Islam a religion. Islam itself means a way of life. That means that's your spirituality. That's your spiritual complex. That means that's between you and God. No one can interfere with that. But when you make it a religion, the word religion itself means a continuous circle. That means that now it revolves over and over again. That I tell you the story about this tin can from you, me, my kids, etc., but I never teach you what? I never teach you spirituality. Mm-hmm. So therefore, you have no spiritual complex. You have no spiritual foundation. Now you're just doing what? Things religiously.
Because it was taught to you.
Exactly.
A lot
it goes
of
on.
things, it goes like that.
It's like education.
You only do it because they teach. Yeah, it's true.
teach you
It makes
like that.
sense.
It's so many.
That's when you have to question everything.
You have to. It's so many
People
ways.
understand, like
Which is
when
why
I question.
I was telling you about that. Right?
No, the same. Like for me, I just feel like I say to a lot of my friends, it's like, do I believe that there's a higher power? Yes. And a lot of the times I don't even like to get into religion, but it's just even always thinking back to the slave days. Like, you know, we've had a discussion to where I let you know that I was interested in history. Mm-hmm. So when I think about it, I'm just like, well, back in slavery days, you had it to where slaves were beat Monday through Saturday, and on Sunday it was Christianity was pushed on them. So
you know where Christianity came from?
Like,
you know where Christianity came from?
Go ahead.
Christianity came from the missionary movements. So in Africa, right, we lived exactly according to what was dictated in history. We lived as kings, queens. Mm-hmm. We lived in tribes. We created.
There was a system. There was a.
You know what Timbuktu is? You know what Timbuktu is?
Mm-hmm.
The world's first educational system, the world's first university, right? Mm-hmm. Kemet itself is where the world derived from. It's where Caucasians came to learn everything that they wanted to, how to enslave us, and that's what I get into, like another conversation on how we were enslaved. So they learned our strengths and weaknesses, and so what it boils down to is that when you get to history, they never wanted to teach us the truth about ourselves, because once they do, you will look at them as the enemy. So once you look at the person who controls your well-being as the enemy, you have a problem. Remember the movie Roots?
Yeah.
When the movie Roots came out, secretly, you know how much uproar was in the world when the movie Roots came out? It made black people really hate white people. Mm-hmm.
Even the that movie on Amistad on
right.
the transatlantic.
It was real.
Yeah.
Amistad was one of the best depiction of the transatlantic slave trade.
That was for me the best. Like, I can watch as long as that movie is. I can watch it
because it was so in depth, and it makes you really. It makes you like, damn. Mm-hmm. It makes you, and it does actually. To be honest, it makes you hate white people because and I think people don't understand is that you hate those type of white people. It doesn't make you hate those currently because I'm not the type of person who says you have to pay for your ancestors' sins and all that. You have black people that own slaves as well. You have black people that enslave black people. So I can't get mad at white people for what their parents did or great-great-grandparents do. But I can get mad at the fact that we ever allowed it.
But, you know, that's what I was saying, Sean. The difference is, like, and I was speaking on the pharaohs and the queens and all that stuff. I think the thing is, even though you did have black people that enslaved other black people, this is where the classism came in, and you also had white people that enslaved other white people. That was their classism. Yep. But when you have a white,
it's money.
It is. However, it wasn't the truth, and this is what I was speaking to them about before, as far as like the pharaohs willing to share with the Europeans, but then the Europeans taking it too far, and it's like It's like if I say to you, Sean, I'm gonna let you hold on to this, and I expect you to bring it back.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not the way it went with the slaves. It was like the Africans that were